Hi friends, it's Cheri here. I just wanted to come on and talk a little bit about some of my Facebook posts that I've posted over the last, I guess the last week maybe, um, and kind of expound on them a little bit. I've been going through some self-discovery over the last week or two, and um, let me get to it here. And I wanted to share some of that with you guys. Um, I made this Facebook post May 11th, and I'll go into exactly what I mean. Okay, what we see, we judge. It's just inevitable. We judge everything that we see. What we do with that judgment is what is key. When we judge someone, do we also judge ourselves? Do we see our transgressions in theirs and then forgive them and love them? Or do we condemn them? It's not the judgment that condemns. It's what we choose to do with that judgment, what we choose to do with it. Do we forgive and love, or do we go the way of the ego and condemn? Okay, so our eyes, we have two eyes, two carnal eyes, okay, that we see from. And the things that we see in this world, we judge just from sight, from one sight. Anything. Look at any. Close your eyes, and then open your eyes and look at the first thing that you see. Immediately, we judge it. We judge the color of it. We judge if it's pretty or if it's ugly. We judge if it's tall or short, if it's fat or skinny. And that's anything. I mean, I'm looking at a dresser right now, and I'm seeing that it's brown, that it's missing two knobs, it's short and thin, and then it has 4 drawers. And now I'm judging if it's pretty or if it's ugly, okay? So this is kind of what we do with everything that we see. We can look outside. Like right now I'm looking outside of a window and I see green, the green grass, the green trees, and it's beautiful. I'm judging with my eyes, with my sight, my carnal sight, my conscious self, that it's beautiful. Okay? So the judgment comes from our conscious mind, our carnal mind, okay? We also have a spirit mind or a soul mind, and with the soul mind, we can look at something and just let it be. Not judge it, but just let it be. But see, our carnal mind, our conscious mind, takes over that subconscious mind, which is the soul mind, and it programs into the subconscious mind, okay? It programs all these judgments. And see, our subconscious mind doesn't have eyes. It doesn't have eyes that can see, can view what we're looking at. It relies on the program that the conscious mind sends to it in order to figure out what's going on, okay? Now, that subconscious mind can also be reprogrammed. And we can reprogram that subconscious mind by the conscious mind downloading the thoughts into it, okay? So it's really tough to explain, but I wanted to kind of explain this judgment thing, okay? So let's take this post a little like one step at a time. When we see, we judge, right? We just went over that. It's inevitable, right? Our conscious mind processes what our eyes see, and then that downloads thoughts into the subconscious mind, okay? All right? What we do with that judgment is what is key. Okay? Now, if someone has hurt us in some way, right away we make judgment of it. Okay? And it's not exactly the judgment, because this world, it's a dual world. Okay? We live in duality. And, it was created that way. And I'll explain that also. But it was created a duality because we have Christ, okay? And when I say Christ, I'm not talking Jesus here. I'm talking, in the beginning, let there be light. That light is the manifestation of everything. Let there be light. It is the Christ. It is our true Father. And this light, this Christ, it burst into millions and billions and trillions of light fractals. This light gave life to everything on the earth. Everything. Everything in the heavens. Gave birth to all things. Okay? It is the life force that is within everything. And we are fractals of the one big light that is Christ. So the Christ is in us. That fractal of light that we call the soul is within us. Okay, so this is our Father. He begat us. Our light, which is our soul, is who we truly are outside of this flesh. This flesh is not who we truly are. It was birthed from the earth, right? The dust. The earth is our mother. You have to have a father and a mother, right? So that's the duality that we come from. We come from the light, and we also come from the earth. The light is the Christ, is our Father. And the mother is the earth. That's our flesh. So I made a post that the earth, who is our mother, through the earth, we were created. Our flesh was created. And continues to be created through our earthly parents. Okay? But in the beginning, the flesh was created. There was no birthing. The only birth was the birth that of the soul from the Christ, the light, the beginning. So, Christ begotten children is everything with his light in it, with his life. So the breath of life is the light. He created everything. Or, I'm sorry, not created. He birthed everything. Okay? But the flesh was created from the earth. Everything was created from the earth. And so we have mother and father, and we are the begotten children of the Father. And the earth, through the earth, our flesh is now begotten, but it was a created thing in the beginning. Adam was not birthed from a physical mother. He was created. So we have a creator and we have a father. And the Father is not the creator. He is the Father of all life. He begot all life here. Okay, so that life was also in Jesus. And Jesus was born with this purpose of becoming the Christ on earth. The light, okay? The light. See, everyone else went the way of the ego. And I'm going to explain the ego. The ego was actually the serpent in the garden. It's also the Satan that rules us, okay? If we're led down that path. Now, we're all going to judge. Let's get back to that. We're all going to judge. That's a part of our dual nature. But accepting the duality, okay, and not condemning it that it is bad or good is what we need to strive for, because everything is dual. We accept that, okay? It's the way it is. We're created from the light and from the dust of the earth. Okay, we are dual creatures. The whole world is duality. And it is good. See, it was created dual. It is good. Because the light met with the dust of the earth and created this life. This conscious being. And it was good. Right? The life hit the trees. And it became full of life. And it was good. The same with the animals. The same with people. But what the knowledge of good and evil is going the way of the ego, the serpent. The ego kills. If we go the way of the ego, we die. Spiritually, we die. What that means is the light of Christ is put to sleep. And we are no longer light beings, but we are of the flesh. Okay? So we're no longer that duality that is light and flesh, light and dust, light and earth, Christ and earth, Christ and the mother, Father and the mother. So we're only going the way of the flesh, the conscious mind. Okay? The carnal mind. What we see with, okay? What we hear with, the five senses. Okay? The carnal mind or conscious mind dictates all of those five senses. Okay? Now, when we have this judging, we see, we judge. It's what we do with that judgment. That's the key. Are we condemning with our judgment? Or are we accepting? When we judge, are we accepting the difference as a part of the whole plan? That everything is good. And I mean everything. Because even when something we perceive as bad, it is still good because it serves a purpose somewhere. We might not understand that purpose. You know, it may make us very sad and very grieved, whatever it is, but it does serve a greater purpose. So when we judge, okay, and we see the good in everything, that you know, I don't understand this. I'm not going to judge it as good or bad because I don't understand what happened here or what's happening here. But I know it's for the greater purpose. Okay, so we can either condemn when we judge, go the way of the serpent, the ego, or we can give life to it, accept it. Now, what I do when someone hurts me, what I've been learning to do is I will judge it, okay? I will say, you hurt me. You know, this person hurt me. It hurts. Now, I could either condemn them for it and not forgive. Or I can do this and I can see my own transgression in theirs. I can look back and see, okay, well, when did I hurt someone else? When have I hurt others? And see that I also transgressed against someone else as they transgressed against me. And so then I can forgive. It doesn't mean that that person's going to change their mind about you, or they're not going to try to hurt you again, but it means that we forgive them. We can see that their transgression has been our transgression with someone else. And so when we judge, we can condemn and go the way of the ego or the serpent or the Satan, or we can accept it for what it is and see our own transgressions in it. Because what we receive, okay, what we sowed what we are reaping. Okay, so if someone hurts you, that means you've probably hurt someone else. So you see your own transgression in it, and where you've transgressed the same way against someone else, and forgive. And love them. And don't hold a grudge. Don't go the way of the ego. Don't try to have vengeance against this person. Forgive. So that's the knowledge of good and evil, is that we do have that knowledge of good and evil. It is the judgment that we have when we see. When we see, we judge. Okay, so we do have that knowledge of good and evil. But it's what we do with that judgment that really matters. Are we going the way of the ego? Are we condemning? Or are we accepting and forgiving? It's just all a part of our duality here. Judging. We're going to do it. But it's how we judge that makes the key. It really is how we judge. Do we judge righteously? Meaning, do we say, okay, you hurt me, and I've hurt others, and so I forgive because I want to be forgiven. I forgive because I love you, and because I want to be loved. So when you're dealing in relationships especially, I mean, we can judge the beauty of the outdoors and say, oh, how beautiful and wonderful this is. Or if it's a hurricane or a tornado, we can say, oh, how horrible this is. Right? Okay, but when we're judging others in our relationships, remember to judge righteously. That's what righteous judgment is. We judge rightly. We judge and we decide to forgive. Because we all have this duality. You know, there's male and female. There's light and dark. There is good and there is evil. Okay, these are the judgments. And what we need to be doing is seeing that there is good and evil in all of us, you know. We judge it to be good and evil, but it's what we do with that judgment. Do we condemn someone who's evil? Or do we accept them and love them and forgive them? You know, I see so many people that these killers that have been put to death, you know, they'll say, let's just take, for example, Charles Manson. I saw so many posts on Facebook after he died. People were saying, you know, he got what he deserved, and you know, he'll rot in hell and all this terrible stuff, you know. And I just see this individual as someone who had a lot of pain within them, a lot of hurt, because he'd been hurt so much. And so he went the way of the ego, and he judged people for this pain. And so he took vengeance upon them, or had it taken out on them. Okay, so this is where the ego leads us. It leads us to murder. And we can murder without physically murdering with our flesh bodies. We can murder people's spirits with our words, with our thoughts, and with our deeds. We really have to be led by the Christ. The Christ is the light. The Christ is forgiveness and love. Our Father. Our Father is love and forgiveness. That's what it's all about. The fruits of the Spirit. Are we demonstrating those in our judgment? Or are we demonstrating the Satan in our judgment? So that's all I have to talk to you about that. I will come on and do another video about another post. You know, it's been a 21-minute video to explain one little post. But I felt like I need to expound on that. Because a lot of people, I'll post things and they'll say, you know, what are you talking about? I don't understand what you're saying. I want to put it in layman's terms because I can only explain it the way I understand it. And a lot of times, I know I try to explain things to my husband, and he's like, now what? Do say this again? You know, I have to explain it sometimes 4 and 5 times. And I have to make it simpler each time. So I'm trying to put it simply in my posts, but I don't think it comes across as simple. Okay, so I think that's all I have. I want to come back on and do another video about another post that I did about martyrdom and what it means. It's going to be a very important video. All right, I love you all. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye. Have a great day.